Welcome to Fit Talk with Coach Luis. If you're serious about getting fit, then this is your show. This is a podcast where fitness enthusiasts share all the ups and downs, the challenges, and the victories on their fitness journey. Now, here's your host, Coach Luis.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Fit Talk with Coach Luis. Today, I am super excited about this episode. Neil and I have been trying to get this done it's been over a year. We've been trying to get this episode done. I think it's been over a year, if not more. But
I think it might be pushing 2 years at this point.
And I'm just glad we did it, man. So a little bit about Neil. He's a certified personal trainer, Bioforce certified conditioning coach. He's in the progress of getting his OPEX certification too, which is awesome. And we'll tell you a little bit about that in a second, about the whys behind that. But also, Neil wears many hats. He is also a retired musician, a touring drummer in a rock metal band. Super cool thing that one of the things that he was able to do before retiring it was he played in a cave in Germany. So we'll talk about all this stuff. Super excited to get this started. Recently opened a brick and mortar gym too, to do some private gym for personal training and coaching. It's called DeRosa Strength. We'll link all of that to the description of the episode. So if you guys want to follow along his journey and so on, please feel free to do so. But let's get into it. Neil, welcome, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Again, pleasure is all mine. So yeah, let's definitely dive into that. So you and I, we first met because when I came on board through Nudge, and that's where we first connected. Like you gave me some good guidance, you gave me some good focus, you really helped me kind of get into that whole world with Nudge. I super appreciate that, man. And one of the things also that one thing that we do want to give a shout out on is how, you were saying like how proud it was for you to have worked at Nudge, coming into that space, into that role that you felt like at one point, which we all feel like that, right? We all have a first, like a role that we're not sure if we can do or not. We always have that day one, but how it's helped build your confidence, feeling like you're not just good for one thing and music and performing on just one instrument. Like, there's so much more. I just did an episode about that what we do, it shouldn't be our identity. It's just a part of who we are and how it just helps build upon those things. So yeah, let's take a step back. Like, give us a little bit of your backstory, man. Things of like where you grew up, what were you like before you found fitness? Kind of like a day in the life of Neil. Like, I'm sure everyone's dying to hear something like that. So all yours, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man. So I grew up in Everett, Massachusetts. That's probably about like 15, 20 minutes north of Boston. Funny, I always thought I grew up like in a suburb. And then my wife moved here from LA and she's like, you didn't grow up in the suburb. This is the city. But for me, it was outside of Boston, which was like the city. Looking back, I was like right next to it. But yeah, growing up, I found music probably in about my teens. Drums was my first instrument, and I stuck with that pretty much. I still play too. When I say retired, I mean from touring and just trying to really chase being a professional musician.
It's still like
But yeah, growing up, oh, I'm sorry.
It's still like your passion though.
Yeah. It's funny, man. When I was chasing it, touring all the time, rehearsing endlessly, I kind of fell out of love with music in the process of doing it more. And upon retiring, like I just enjoyed listening so much more. So it's funny how even though I kind of closed the door on performance, my love for finding new music and new bands, new artists blew up again, kind of like when I was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like fitness was always in my life, even though I had no concept that I might be coaching anyone or doing it for a living. Um, I grew up in like a classic Italian house, so there was endless food from Friday to Sunday. Um, so growing up, I was kind of a husky kid. Um,
Same here.
and yeah, um, so it wasn't until I was in about eighth grade, ninth grade, going into high school, I hit my growth spurt and I got super lean by accident. But I still had this vision of my head as being like a heavier kid because kind of sticks with you when you get bullied a little bit growing up. And as I went through high school, goth kid, metal musician, you know, uh, ate my feelings a little bit. This was the time of like Domino's when they first started delivering in the early 2000s, if that means anything to anyone listening. Um, I put on some serious weight. This wasn't just baby fat anymore. And I remember going into my senior year in high school and I went to a doctor's visit. He was like, "Hey, we're going to test you for type 2 diabetes."
Mm.
And I'm still a kid. I'm like, "What? Why? What do you mean?" And there were no bedside manner at all. And they're like, "You're fat." I'm like devastated because I didn't see it.
Man.
I didn't see it. And I remember going home that night and I saw it for the first time. It crushed me. And I got the best and worst fitness advice ever from my friend's older brother. He's just like, "Yeah, just eat salads and run," which I did, and it worked. But I like drove myself into the ground to lose weight. So I've carried this on again, off again battle with weight and figuring out how to exercise, what's important, what's to eat, alongside my music career early on. So I was always interested in fitness because I felt like I needed to be healthy. Did it the wrong way a bunch of times in the beginning, but I remember always kind of having that there. And it wasn't until preparing for my first tour, which was maybe 2016 or 17, I remember being supremely out of shape. And I was about to be in a van for a month. And out of the whole month, I think we only had like 4 or 5 days off scheduled, which was insane. So I started doing yoga and stretching just because you're seated when you play drums and everything gets tight. And my wife at the time was going to a CrossFit gym and she's like, "Hey, you should try it." I did, and I've never experienced anything like that in my life. So that's how I started training to prepare to my body and just even mentally to go and tour. Um,
I like that, man.
but yeah, that kind of took me up until really thinking like this isn't just something I enjoy doing. I find a lot of value here, and I think I can maybe help people who have been struggling after many years of me struggling doing the wrong thing. Maybe I can learn a little more and just see what's going on before I even thought about being a coach yet.
Yeah.
Because it felt like a system, not general advice that wasn't for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And it's crazy. Like a lot of people don't realize the amount of endurance that goes into drumming. There's a lot. I mean, there's your muscles are moving constantly. All of them are really, even though you're sitting, like you said, you're still, I mean, you work up a sweat. It's hard work. So you do need to have that mental strength and that physical strength to be able to drum for an entire performance.
Yeah. Oh, dude, 100%. Do you know the Garmin or MyZone heart rate straps for your chest?
Mhm.
There were a couple shows I wore those, and my heart rate was just like 120 the whole time for the 60-minute set. It was good. But yeah, like there's a lot of pressure when you're a drummer too, because of like if the guitar player hits a bum note, it's gone in a second. But like if you drop a beat, everyone can
It
tell.
throws everybody, and it
The
throws
dance,
everything off.
yeah, the dance is dead. If you were having a good time, you just felt something awful change. So part of why I practiced so much in my earlier years and even for tours, I had a fear of messing up. And we all mess up. But I had this catastrophic idea of what could happen. So I just practiced dropping sticks on purpose to be able to know I could recover. Uh,
It's
and thank God I rarely needed it. And if you did mess up live, you're just so locked in, you blow right past it. No one knows. But the fear kept me shocked.
That is true. That is so true too, because
Yeah.
once you have it on lock, then if it's one of those mess ups that only you know you messed up, but like nobody else does, then it makes it a little more okay because
Yeah,
nobody else knows what you were actually about to do. They just know what they keep hearing, and everyone's in the mood. No, that makes total sense, man. So
yeah.
how was that then? Like that what was that experience like in the playing that last time in the cave? Like, how was that experience? Like, I have the pictures and like I'm gonna load them up so everyone can see them, obviously. But
Yeah.
just like being in that space, how did that feel?
It was awesome, man. That was the first time we went to Europe. Our record label is from Germany. So we had been signed for a good, oh man, I think it was like 6 or 7 years. COVID kind of threw everything off. We were signed before COVID. We went on tours, and then that couple of years of just not doing anything and living in time suspension, it feels like sometimes. Um, we got back on the road. We never did a full tour again, but we got invited to that cave because it was our record label's music festival. So we played twice that weekend. We did an acoustic set the first night, and then the second night we were in the cave, which was pretty awesome. So it felt like a like pretty serious full circle moment for me because we have always been wanting to go to Europe and tour. Before we got that show, I internally I knew that I think my time as a musician was starting to ramp down as much as I wasn't ready to admit it. You you know, and I knew, and I was kind of fighting with that. But we went, um, scared before going on stage because the stakes were so high and the environment was so different. You couldn't prepare for that at all. Um, but humble brag, I crushed it. That may have been the best I've ever played.
Nice.
And it was just so nice because it was an extremely proud moment, but there was also a little bit of sadness coming off because it was like, yeah, this isn't going to happen again. But I was still proud, and I was also still very at peace with it to have all the as much as you can when all those emotions are flying around. You know,
How how cool though of a send off, right? Like
extremely
how
cool.
how epic is that to be like, like you hung up the gloves at a good peak, where you
Yeah,
felt and you one thing that a lot of people don't get to do is actually like live their dreams, but
yeah,
you got to do it, man, and you're still evolving and growing and doing other things that you also still love at the same time. Um,
yeah,
so and I do love seeing that too. Like I love seeing the progress of things. Love that. So when you did the first posts with on social media with the space, that piece, and then the empty room, and then just building up and all that. Like I
yeah.
love that because you can see all the step by step, and a lot of people don't ever really talk about those things, like the restless nights, the
Mm.
man, is it gonna fall through or not? Is it gonna happen? Or is it not gonna happen? Or like, oh man, this delivery didn't get here on time. What are all those little things that just build up, man? Like seeing it
Yeah.
there was really cool to see the really behind the scenes stuff. So it's like, where are you now then with the Rose of Strength? Like how's that going?
It's good, man. I'm officially open. We opened in January. That's my hard open, we'll say.
Mhm.
I had my soft open about around Halloween of 2025. We signed our lease. I forget if it was the end of August into early September, but the previous tenant got out really quick. So the landlord for Coley's just like, he's gone. You can come in whenever you want. So we went in, we started painting. Um, and we just kind of took our time. And I was coaching out of my home. I had a barbell set up downstairs, um, adjustable dumbbells, pretty like a very small one room personal training setup. It was going great. Um, but I started getting cold calls, and I'm like, if it was a referral from a friend or a client of mine, and they're like, hey, my aunt wants to come in, she could be a stranger to me, but there's the social obligation that so and so isn't sending me a crazy person, you know? So we partially strangers, but I was getting like cold calls. And I just didn't feel right bringing them into my house with my wife. I have three hairless cats. So the cats running around like crazy.
Wonderful though.
Um, so yeah, that I found the space at the perfect time. And it was easy. Scary, but everything about doing it felt easy, you know?
It goes falling into place for you. How
Yeah, the challenges were still challenging, but like there wasn't really resistance on the choices made. Everything just made sense. And I always see those as signs where it's just like, yeah, you might be going uphill, but this is correct.
you're
There
on
was
the
no
right
internal
track.
struggle. There was no like, oh, should I do this? It felt, even with everything going on, everything felt like the right time. I had a great support system with my wife, my mom, my mother-in-law. It was great.
Yeah. And then talking about that, that 2025 being a challenging year, what other challenges did you face? Like what struggles did you have to go through during that? Because you said 2025 was a really challenging year.
Oh, yeah, it was a pretty rough year, man. Um, I would call this like the year of just white knuckling it, but also trying to be of service to everyone,
Yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, my wife and I have been trying to start a family, and we did an IVF cycle that didn't work. We had some other complications.
Yeah.
My father-in-law was sorry, not my father-in-law. My stepdad was extremely ill throughout all of 2025, and just that roller coaster of is he gonna make it? Where are we at? And deciding the business on top of it. And while I was coaching, my mom and stepdad owned a business where I was there working as well. So at one point, I felt like I had three or four jobs. Um, but you get through, man. You know, we have a really great community. My clients were great. They were super understanding the whole time, especially the ones who've been with me from coaching them in my basement. We go to a church down in Salem. Amazing community there. Just helped us out at every. So we were just blessed to have people around to get us through.
Yeah.
You know.
And yeah, and I love that because it also like what you said or also before it was that to show up for others regardless what's going on,
Mm,
you're literally being the helpers. That's what
yeah.
it's all about, so and having community is so important. So that's really nice that you had, that good support group at the same time too. And that really is what means everything because seeing people struggle, it's
Mm,
rough. And then if it's I mean, like with COVID, that was the same exact thing. We were seeing left and right, people just struggling. It was just constant, over and over, repetition of struggles, sadness, the uncertainty of everything. So
mm,
having it now to do that again, not that far along after, is just also like, man, okay, here we go again. But
yeah.
yeah, kind of like at the same time, I think like our body evolves and our brain evolves and we adapt and we learn like all right, you know what, we did this hard thing already once before, we know we can get through it, and we kind of may have a little bit better coping mechanisms as to
Mhm.
how to push through it. And like always, one of those biggest coping mechanisms is moving, is fitness, even
Yeah.
drumming. I'm sure after having a rough day, man, just hitting the drums is a really good way to get frustrations out.
Yeah. No, man, you're right. There were some days where like I was tired, beat up, but even though I was expending a lot of energy in the gym, that kept me sane. You know, to the point where even sometimes my wife was just like, "You go to the gym?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am. I
Yep.
need to."
Yep.
You know,
Eh,
it one thing that helps too. This was like kind of new for me because as a musician, this isn't for every musician. This was just for me, I think. Um, it was very selfish, not necessarily selfish, like, oh, I'm going to take this from you, but it was very focused on me. What am I playing? When am I going to go on tour? When am I doing this? What kind of music am I going to play? when I got into coaching, it zero was about me. And that was the most refreshing thing ever. And now it's my ethos. It should never be about me. And I kind of learned even more about that this year because, you know, people say like when you go to church, it's a spiritual hospital. So you see everything in church. It's not just the service. People go in there, they need help, they need to talk to people. Just compartmentalizing constantly throughout 2025, which is like, you feel like you feel not good, try not to swear. I'm a New Englander, so it's hard. You don't feel great. You had a rough day, but so and so is not feeling so good either. Like you get a shot for them. Just it's all good. And just like constantly trying to replay that everyone's struggling. It doesn't mean not that you take it out on people, but it's still important to show up for people even if you're struggling too. You know?
100%.
Uh,
And that's not always easy, you know.
oh,
It's not. It's tough, and it's kind of like the caretakers. You know, they have to be there for the person 24/7, and the caretaker's like, where's my self-care? You know, where's mine? And they don't really get it, but they still have to show up because you're the caretaker. So,
mhm.
is that like for like negative thoughts, fighting those away and so on? Is that that's like your go-to? That's like your mental way that you kind of navigate through those?
Lately, yeah, it has been. I honestly didn't really have a coping mechanism for it before. When it was in music, it was kind of just bullying myself to like, God, just get through it. But again, that's to me. When there's others involved in what I've learned this past year, you just showing up and helping someone else, I found is often the help that you need yourself. I've learned so much about what I may be going through silently where I don't even share it with anyone just by helping other people and being of service of like the smallest things. It's not even
Mhm.
crazy like heroics, like,
Yeah, yeah.
just like someone, if they're down and you're talking to them and you just try to, you got this man, you pep them up. Just those exchanges really fill everyone's cup, you know?
They really do. And that's where I think we're both in the same field, so I think that's where it's so nice to be part of someone's journey for
Mhm.
that, where they feel almost they come to you either feeling like defeated and they're like, man, nothing's working. Like, all right, you know what? I'm going to be a little tiny piece of that journey for you. And then to see them get more self-esteem, see them just get stronger. And as they get
Yeah.
stronger, they feel better. And you just see them as a whole new person from that came walking to your door. So I absolutely agree with that. It's so, so important. Um, so who would you say is like your inspiration for what you do?
Oh man, but kind of a lot of them. So industry wise, I'm always looking at, do you know the power athlete guys, John Wellborn?
Yeah.
I love power athlete. Um, I like Dave Tate in Elite FTS. They're like hardcore powerlifters, but I like taking what they do and secretly applying that even with my regular like Gen Pop people to be like, no, powerlifting's great. I don't use the word powerlifting because it freaks people out sometimes, but
Absolutely.
you know, barbell's barbell, man. It's all good.
Right. That's right.
Um, yeah, inspiration wise, I mean that would say that for the industry. When I was really kind of like forming this idea of personal responsibility and just showing up for others, I'd say Jocko Willink. You know Jocko? Jocko podcast.
Look that
I'm
up.
sure you've seen him.
I might have. I gotta look that up. I don't.
Jocko Willink is amazing. I don't know him personally. When I talk about him as like, oh, he and I total.
He's my buddy. We drum out
Oh,
on
yeah,
weekends, you know?
yeah. This is something that's happened inside. No, but man, he just has hours and hours of really, really great podcasts and information on leadership, but also just like learning how to lead and take care of yourself to then set an example and try to move forward from there. And when you're a musician, you often don't have a lot of routines and respond. Well, that's not true. You have a lot of responsibility, but um, I don't know. My musician life felt very chaotic, and starting to get into Jocko really helped like clean that up and prepare the path for now, I guess, even though it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
So,
as they say, is what we do every single day is preparing us for what
yeah,
we're, because the one thing we do today is what we start doing the next week. We become that in 3 months or so, and it just keeps growing from there.
yeah. One of the things that always stuck with me that he said was, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it didn't fall in a day either. So you really have to strive to be 1% better every day. And I feel like that's kind of a cliche term these days, but like part of my coaching is I try to get people to know that and like, hey, 1% better. 1% can easily be like, hey, you know what? I didn't do my nutrition today. I didn't go to the gym, but I am going to at least go for a walk. Dude,
Right.
that's 1% better still. You
Right.
know, some people might beat themselves up and be like, no, or force themselves to go to the gym when maybe they should have taken a little bit of a rest day. But it's more of the mindset than what you actually did, especially for regular people who are just trying to improve their health um, globally. If we were talking like athletes or something, it's a little different. But for all
Absolutely.
intents and purposes, like trying to be 1% better consistently over time, it fitness isn't sexy. It's just that. That's what really makes a winning formula. Not some of the crazy stuff we may see on social media today.
It's the thing. It's like it's the boring stuff that works. It's the
Yeah.
day in, the day out. It's falling in love with the process. It's
Yeah.
not just like, oh, I'm gonna because when this happens, oh, I'm gonna be great. Like, no, no, no. Do the now. Like, focus on that. Focus on, man, I made it today, and my lifting session was awesome. I was able
Yep.
to, like that's really because that's what's real. The present. That's what's real. Later on, we don't know. So it's like the right now. That's what's building
Yeah.
our our future self. So totally agree with that, man. That 1% better every day, that is one of the best things that we can tell our patients, our clients. That is the one
Mhm.
best thing we can tell them because then it just lets them understand, okay, so it is okay if I only did this. My goal was 40 minutes, but I only did 20 or 15. That's
Mhm.
1% better, man. That's better than
Yeah.
not having done anything at all. So, you know,
Yeah.
so
No, dude. I tell people too, like if you go to the gym and you really have nothing, pick one exercise.
yeah,
You might be there for 15 minutes. It's fine because that prevents the classic I'll start Monday. This drives me nuts. I see this so much. You mess up on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, you kind of beat yourself up a little bit and you're like, "Oh, I'll start Monday." It's like,
I'll
dude,
start fresh Monday. Why?
it's Tuesday night.
I know
Like
you still
start
got like
Wednesday
4 more
morning.
days. What happens with
Yeah.
those 4 days?
Yeah. But it like I get it, because most people when they're coming for coaching or some sort of health advice, they're vulnerable. So they take everything super personally, and they should because it's important. But I for me personally, like I try to center coaching around like I know this happens. It happens to me. If I can get the nutrition and the fitness plan to have as little friction as possible, I kind of don't care about anything else. I don't care if you're using machines, barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, body weight. If there can be little friction for when you said you're going to do your workout to doing it, I'm happy. I feel like that's a huge win for the individual. Because friction, once that gets in the way, oh, dude, it's over.
Yeah, yeah,
Or it
no,
could be over.
you're right. You're absolutely. It just makes it that much more difficult,
Yeah.
and that's where also that behavior comes into play a lot because of what like you said they and we were all there. We were all there at one point where it was that we had the wrong mentality about it all. And then we have to kind of like rewire that thinking and that thought process. And that's a huge piece also of why it's so important to just let the people understand, Like, why are you doing this? Remember that, use that as your motivation. Like, a lot of times we just weren't motivated whatsoever to do the exercise or the eating habits or so on. And it's like, man, why am I not motivated? Like, well, there was no foundation, there was no basis as to why you were doing this. You just read it somewhere and you're like, okay, I guess I'll do it. That's not enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's another thing that I tell them all the time too. It's like, don't just do it because, oh, Luis told me to do it, or, with your people, Neil told me to do this. So that's why I'm doing it. Like, no, there has to be a connection as to why you're doing it. That's like, and that's where I'm going to go with you is like, what's your motivation? Like, what's your why for doing what you're doing?
For me, like as a business or like my own fitness journey,
So I would say, well, kind of both because
kind of both.
you are an extension of what you're doing. So yeah, like
Yeah.
what motivates you? What motivates Neil?
Yeah. These days, to that point too, I think they are closely related. Um, I comically and often not motivated. I just try to remember the why and just be disciplined with it. But it takes a while to learn that. But it also changes a lot. Like you kind of just take it in sprints. But for me, my wife and I have been trying to start a family for a while. So I'm 38, not old, but I'm not young either. So I want to make sure I'm healthy for when we have kids. And when they're teenagers, I'm not starting to fall apart. And you see that.
100%.
If you asked me this like 5 or 6 years ago, wouldn't have understood it all. But now it seems more urgent. It's also important for me to always be doing some sort of the work that my clients do, just so I don't forget what it's like. I want to make sure that I'm always sympathetic to the things that they find hard, you know. Um,
Like that.
yeah,
I like that. And it's our why changes as we grow, as we, like you said, five,
yeah,
10 years ago, totally different. You weren't planning a family, so it's same thing. And I completely get it. It makes total sense, man.
yeah,
All right, how about here's some fun questions now. This is a fun part.
yeah, yeah,
Are you into, I know you're a drummer, so you're huge into music.
yeah.
So any like music that you really like listening to that help you out when you got those tough times, or any books that you're reading that help you out that you recommend?
Yeah. So I haven't read in a while. The last book I read though was, do you know the prog metal band? Not sorry, not prog metal, just prog band, Rush.
Yep.
Have you heard of Rush? Yeah, Geddy Lee, his biography, which was awesome.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, he wrote it. He didn't have a, I don't think he had a ghostwriter, but it very much sounded like any interview I've heard with Geddy Lee. So it was a real joy to read through that.
nice.
Music wise, oh dude, I lean on that so much in the gym. Usually of the heavier and the metal variety. But my wife and I are anime nerds, so I'm constantly usually listening to like anime soundtracks because they're so epic also.
Oh, nice. Yeah. What
And
what what
like,
is your guys' like anime? Like, what's that top ones that you guys like to watch?
oh man, this is a super unpopular opinion, but I love My Hero Academia.
Oh,
The
dude, me too.
fandom, oh, thank you, man. Thank God someone else agrees.
My
Because
Hero
the fandom,
Academia. I like One
yeah,
Piece.
yep,
Full Metal Alchemist was one of my favorite ones.
yep.
Yeah,
Did you
I
see Solo Leveling yet?
no.
Oh, it's only 2 seasons, so you don't have to spend like 6 weeks watching it. But Solo Leveling is awesome.
I gotta
If you
watch.
like My Hero Academia, you'll like Solo Leveling.
Awesome, awesome, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm one of those people too that's just like, oh, this last set of bench is going to be awful. So I'll scrub the song forward for the moment and just hope I don't get trapped.
Yep, yep. But I was raised on, well, not raised, but when I was younger, Dragon Ball Z was like the
Oh, same.
thing, man. Oh, love it.
Yep. Goku went so Super Saiyan for the first time, and then it restarts, and you don't see it again for like till summer's over.
Yeah. The one thing I never liked is like you said, Goku turning Saiyan is like that took like a whole season for him to power up. Like, dude, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
And we
go.
got like 2 dubs a year. So
Yeah.
they would just be like, oh, guess we'll reset it again.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. What
We
a
didn't know though.
no, we didn't. Like, man, they worked it good, man.
Yeah.
What
But there was nothing cooler than that moment when he
there was
finally did. It
yo,
was the
it
best,
was
man.
like it was worth the wait.
Yeah, we were like, what, 12 or 13-ish?
Man, it was yeah. Yeah. It was like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. And you couldn't wait to get to school to tell your friends, and all that.
Yeah.
And everyone in school was like, that was the whole thing.
Yeah, kids were passing out because they held their breath for too long. Or, oh
The
man.
whole high blood pressure.
Yeah.
What are your three favorite foods?
Oh man. Burgers, steak, and I don't eat a lot, but I really love Chinese food.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah.
Favorite three movies?
Favorite through movie. Oh man, my wife's gonna laugh at me when I say this. Rocky 4, Rocky 3, and then Rocky 2. In descending order.
And that part.
Yes,
Oh, that's awesome.
Rocky 4 is the best movie ever. I like more movies than that, but the Rocky series was just like
Yeah.
pivotal growing up.
Yeah, 100%. There's some
Yeah.
movies that just I remember seeing this meme that said, like, why do you work out every day? And then it says, because I grew up watching these guys, and it was like Rocky,
Yep.
Arnold, like all of them just, Van Damme, like all this stuff. It's like that's literally what we grew up watching. So yes,
Yeah.
we're always working. That's what we know. Um, and most importantly, do you believe in Sasquatch?
I have to believe in Sasquatch because it's the Yeti's cousin, and I believe in the Yeti.
Right.
It's
They're
just winter Sasquatch.
That's it. It's just winter Sasquatch. That's it.
Yeah.
They're buddies, man. So
Yeah. Do you believe in Sasquatch?
heck yeah.
Okay, good.
I have so many Sasquatch shirts. It's ridiculous, man.
That's awesome.
And you're right. He's the Yeti's cousin. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. And then what message would you want to send out to anybody listening?
Oh man, I had a couple answers prepared, but I think I'm gonna go with the 1% theme. Don't be afraid to start. It does not have to be perfect. You just need to do a little bit better every day. And a little better means going for a walk. If you can get more, great. But just a little better, that will take you wherever you need to go. Just don't lose hope.
Yeah. And I'll share also the other one that you sent me in the with the
Oh
pre-question.
yeah.
That was a really good one too. They're both great ones. So
Oh
this one was don't be afraid to empty your cup for others. And I understand there needs to be boundaries, but sometimes the help we need may be found in helping others. Again, just going back to that, being the helpers. I love that.
yeah.
Um, how can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you on social media? Like, what are I'll put them in the description anyways, but
Mm.
if you want to say which ones they are.
Yeah, so if you're on Instagram, you can always send me a message. I do my best to respond pretty quickly. It's DeRosa.strength. That's the Instagram handle. You could write me an email from the website, DeRosaStrength.com. I am in the process of hooking up all the booking buttons. I'm slow on the process end, but there is a form there you can fill out for contact, reach out with any questions. Um, yeah, either one of those would be perfectly fine.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Neil, it was a pleasure having you, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad we made this happen. I don't get to have many guys that actually do the episode with me. A lot of times they're like, I don't know why they don't want to come on the show. So I love the fact that I got another guy to, not that I don't, obviously nothing against obviously the women, but it's like it's
Yeah,
good to
yeah.
have variety. It's good to have variety. So I appreciate it, man. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening and watching. And we'll see you on for the next one.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking out Fit Talk with Coach Luis. Remember to follow us on social media, on Instagram at Live to Progress, and on Twitter at Live2Progress. Stay tuned for more episodes of Fit Talk with Coach Luis coming soon. And remember, always live to progress.